Everybody. In today's video, I'll be doing a weekly market analysis along with actionable setups that I'm looking for next week. All right, let's jump into it. So, here's just a quick weekly recap. Last week was a rough one across the board, folks. The S&P 500 slipped about 1.44%, closing around 6,833, while the Dow Jones dropped 1.2% to finish near 50,000. The Nasdaq took the biggest hit, down 2.1%, as tech stocks continued to feel the pressure from AI jitters and broader market rotations. And this marks the worst week for stocks so far in 2026, with volatility spiking, and the VIX jumped about 5.5% on average, aligning with seasonal trends of high volatility. In crypto, it was even more brutal. Bitcoin clawed back some ground, but hovered around 70K after dipping to the mid 60,000s earlier in the month, down from October highs over 120,000. That's a staggering $2 trillion wipeout in the global crypto market since its peak. Ethereum followed suit, trading volatility amid bearish sentiment. Futures markets echoed this. S&P minis reflected the equity pullback, and gold futures held steady, but with downside risk tied to inflation. Overall, softer than expected CPI numbers provided a brief rebound on Friday, but risk-off sentiment from tech sell-offs and precious metals volatility dominated. If you're trading from New York like me, you feel that Wall Street chill. All right, so let's take a look at some of the charts. As you can see, over the past week, Bitcoin was kind of consolidating. As you can see, it started the week off at like 70K, and it basically ended the week at 70K. So nothing much. It's basically been consolidating within this range right here, and we dipped down to 65K, but we spring back up, and we're about at 70K right now. As you can see on the RSI, we're slowly clawing our way back on the RSI, but I mean, after like this huge just fall, I mean, I don't know. Bitcoin's still looking pretty weak to me, but as I say, be fearful when others are greedy. Same thing for Ethereum. It ended the week basically flat from 2000 up to 2000. So Ethereum and Bitcoin are obviously very closely tied together, so it makes sense. Um, as I mentioned before, SPY kind of traded sideways, I guess you could say. As you can see, it started the week up here and it fell about 1.76%. It keeps holding this 100-day SMA, as you can see, bounce, 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 bounce. So hopefully this holds, but if it goes lower, that's definitely not good. But as you can see, IWM keeps going. As you can see, it started the week and it's only down about 0.76%, so really nothing bad, and it keeps holding this green line in an uptrend. Some stocks that got hit really hard this week were Robinhood. It fell about let me use weekly candles. All right. It fell about 11% after it beat earnings, but it missed revenue because of crypto and got pretty sold off. Yeah, basically all these big cap stocks had a bad week. Netflix, Meta, Nvidia, Amazon, everything was just down. Even gold, I think, was down on the week. Or yeah, silver was down. Oh, gold was actually positive. But yeah, this just shows that people are still like fearful, and that I don't know. I think that the whole market is just really uncertain right now. But now let's get into what I'm looking for in next week. For stocks, we're watching the S&P 500 closely. Obviously, it's testing the support at this 69,000 level after last week's dip with resistance at 7K. But they also have resistance at that 100 SMA level before, like I pointed out. And that's the all-time high from late January. RSI is in neutral territory around 50, suggesting room for a bounce. If GDP surprises positively, moving averages show a slight bearish crossover on the daily chart, but the 200 MMA or SMA at 65,000 provides a safety net. In my predictions is that I see a choppy week similar to last, with potential upside to 6,950 if inflation data stays soft. I would focus on rotations away from overvalued tech, and towards value stocks and energy or financials, or even in something like IWM. S&P minis are going to mirror this if you're trading futures. Um, and yeah, Wall Street's reacting to AI disruption fears, but earnings from non-tech firms could broaden the rally. And with crypto's currently in a deep freeze. Bitcoin's down 26% year to date, trading at around 70K with support at 60,000 and resistance at 70K. Yeah, funding rates have hit 10-month lows, hitting at a potential rally like last time this happened with XRP. Ethereum is very volatile, but it has seen an uptick in usage and down some percentages. But institutional flows could drive recovery per JP Morgan's bullish call. And on the technicals, here I can show it right now, but Bitcoin just it seems to be holding its 8 EMA, and on the weekly, I mean, it's pretty much just right near that 200 SMA at 50K. So if it did hit this, I think we may see a bounce. Um, yeah, watch for deleveraging. 8.7 billion wiped out recently, but no full capitulation yet, at least um, before last Saturday. And in futures, the S&P minis are poised for volatility with the index outlook. Gold futures are holding around recent levels, but could slide if yields rise on strong GDP, and watch $2,000 support. And Nasdaq minis might underperform if tech rotation continues, but it's always important to watch NQ1. Now let's take a look at my portfolio. Over the past week, it's fell about 6%, mainly because of a broader market sell-off. I did get into a new position with HIMS, the 2x leverage. I'm currently down about 14%, but I'm willing to hold this for as long as I need to. And I see a bright future for HIMS and think that it could definitely go up. I mean, it's so oversold. Here, I'll show right now. Yeah, so um, it's down from like 64 to $16, and that's all just because of lawsuits and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, it doesn't really affect their revenue, and it's still growing. I would really look forward to earnings to see what's going to happen. Um, but stocks like Iron and Galaxy did rise this week, which is good. And yeah, some of my calls were pretty much flat, but I also did buy this Resolve call, which I've talked about before on the channel. How much? Yeah, I'm down 23%, but that's really nothing. Um, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to next week. We'll probably be less focused on investing because I'm thinking that it's going to be a choppy week, and more focusing on trading futures and all that type of stuff. We do have some earnings that could be important. Sunoco, which is an energy company, Wix, which is an AI platform, Wingstop, DoorDash, Carvana, eBay, Open Door. Walmart's going to be important. That's a good consumer staple. But yeah, overall, no like crazy earnings, but something to look out for, I guess. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the week. I hope you guys have a good weekend, and hopefully you have a good trading week next week. All right, thanks, guys.